This tutorial is the last of a three-part series that gives an overview of how the spiritual dimension affects our lives. Now for a quick recap. In the first part, we explained how the causes of problems can also be in the spiritual dimension. In the second part, we showed some examples of real-life case studies where the root cause was found to be spiritual in nature. And in this third and final part, we share the various spiritual root causes of problems in life. We have uncovered this knowledge through our spiritual research over the past 20 years. This slide shows a list of some of the main spiritual root causes of problems in life. And over the subsequent slides, we will go through them in a little more detail. Through spiritual research, we have ascertained that in current times, 65% of our lives is predestined. Destiny is that part of our lives that is forced upon us, and we have no control over it. The other 35% of our lives is within our control and can be modified with our own free will. An example of a destined event is the family we are born into, as we have no control over it. In fact, all major events in our life are predestined. These events include birth, marriage, major illnesses, and death. They take place to settle accounts from previous lifetimes. A typical example of willful action is drinking and driving, in spite of knowing the perils of doing so. However, free will is generally limited to the smaller events in our life. Our destiny can be mild, moderate, or severe. In this slide, we have given examples of each. With each type of destiny, we have to do higher levels of spiritual practice to be either insulated from it or to overcome it. For example, to overcome moderate destiny, we would need to do intense spiritual practice for at least 10 to 12 hours a day. Severe destiny can only be overcome by the grace of a spiritual master. Without exception, all of us are affected with problems caused due to our departed ancestors, and they can affect us to varying degrees. The problems can manifest in our lives in various ways and include problems such as financial difficulties, skin diseases that just don't go away, and marital problems. This spiritual root cause of problems has been addressed in detail on our website. Our ancestors trouble us to gain our attention to help them in the afterlife. This help can be provided by doing some rituals or chanting a certain name of God. All of us are affected by these entities in some form or the other. The reasons why ghosts and spirits attack us are to gain pleasure from troubling people, trying to satisfy their desires and cravings, to seek revenge, to torment seekers doing spiritual practice to realize God. Now, the only sure way of protection from ghosts is to increase our spiritual level through spiritual practice. Black magic does exist, and the people who perform it can affect a person anywhere in the world. It is not dependent on geographic proximity. All of us have a spiritual energy flow system in our body known as the Kundalini. Difficulties in our lives can be caused due to an obstruction in the Kundalini. It can manifest in many ways, such as impotency, heart problems, a voracious appetite, or an increased sexual drive. Sometimes, people feel excessive tiredness as soon as they wake up itself. Almost everything is a struggle to do because of this tiredness. This is primarily due to a reduction of the vital energy in our body. Vital energy, or Pran Shakti, is a subtle energy that provides the energy for all bodily activities such as respiration and our heartbeats. Sometimes, houses and areas are plagued by negative entities such as ghosts and spirits. These entities can adversely affect the residents of a certain place. For example, They can cause fights in a house by putting wrong thoughts in people's minds, or even unrest amongst workers in a workplace. Negative or distressing frequencies can also be created by incorrect placement of furniture or machinery in a premise. So how do we protect ourselves from the spiritual dimension? Well, we can do this in two ways. The first is by applying a spiritual remedy. However, this is still a temporary solution. A more permanent solution is to raise the spiritual energy within us. Spiritual energy of a person rises with the correct spiritual practice, and we will cover this in subsequent tutorials. In summary, the key points to take away from this tutorial are: most of the events in our life, good or bad, have their root cause in the spiritual dimension. We can overcome spiritual problems or be insulated from them only by applying a spiritual remedy. Please do visit our website for further information. And that's all for this 3-part series. Thank you for watching.